Hi, this is Sarah Lacy, backstage at TechCrunch Disrupt with the somewhat battered and bruised Tim Armstrong, boss of my
Battered
boss
and
of my
bruised. What
boss.
happened?
Mike was pretty rough on you on
Mike
stage.
was he? Mike. That's Mike.
He was rough. He was roughest on you and Ron Conway, who he just invested with. He seems to be meaner to people he's in business with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that for a long time.
I didn't know he was mean to Ron. Ron's one of my friends. I'll have to be his bodyguard
meaner
next
than
time.
he usually is to
Oh,
Ron.
really?
Usually he gives Ron a pass on everything.
Oh, he does?
Yeah,
What did he say to Ron?
I don't know. He was kind of breaking the news of his fun for him.
Oh, he
being
was?
a little bit of a bully.
Oh, really?
Being Mike, you know.
Mike, that's very Mike. Be like Mike.
So if you give him a raise, I mean, he might punch you next time you come on stage.
No raises then. I'm going to give him a demotion. What should I demote him to?
Oh, well, you know, I would say working underneath me, but I would never want Mike to report to me. So
All right. Well,
my goal is to make as much money as possible without managing anyone at TechCrunch.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I don't know. Mike might be reporting to you by the time this whole thing's over with. So.
God, no, don't do that to me. All right, let's talk about a few things. Earlier today, we've been marveling at how quickly Ariana has whipped through the content side of this company,
Yep.
making insane changes. And to me, she's sort of a more decisive, high-energy Mike.
Yep.
I mean, they have a lot of the same philosophies.
Yep.
They both have this attitude of, well, why can't we just not do that? I mean, they don't really take no for an answer.
Right.
I mean, I know you thought Huffington Post was a great company and she was a great asset, but did you realize how much she was going to be this tornado just taking over the newsroom at AOL?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I spent a lot of time with Ariana on was just cultural philosophy, what content is on the internet, where it's going, and so I feel really good about what we've done as a combined entity, and I think Ariana is, you know, incredibly talented person. I think Ariana has most people know her from the pundit side, from TV, they don't know her from the business side, and she's an exceptionally sharp, you know, business person, and she's she has great instincts on the content side of the business. So I think we're both executing really quickly, and the rest of the management team is. So overall, I'm really happy with a lot of the changes she's been making, and I think, you know, we'll continue to do more interesting stuff in the future.
What about personality type within AOL? I mean, I think both you and Brad Garlinghouse are pretty, at least from the outside, mild-mannered. Now, people think of you as a sales guy, you know, the whole like John Hamm Mad Men thing going on. You know, whereas Ariana and Mike are these just hardcore forces. Now, I mean, it all seems to be working well together, but do you think acquiring some of that into the company is really changing the DNA of AOL?
Yeah, I think, you know, first and foremost, almost everybody we have in our management team are change agents. I mean, almost everybody had companies they ran before or did startups. So we don't look like a kind of Fortune 500, you know, management team. We look like, I think in many cases, a group of entrepreneurs who have done scaled things in the past who got together. So, you know, on the surface, you know, Mike and Ariana are probably more public, you know, personas, but, you know, a lot of people on the management team are pretty hard driving, and there aren't any wallflowers in our meetings, and I think that's what makes it fun and exciting. And you know, I think in different ways everybody pushes each other a lot, and I don't think anyone's at AOL to have a single or a double. I think we want a home run. So you know, we have a competitive group of people who are really trying to be change agents.
Now, I remember last Disrupt, when you guys bought us, you probably don't know this, I was in tears the night before. I told Mike he was making the biggest possible mistake.
You were crying?
No, I was
You're so happy?
miserable.
What country are you in, though?
I was in the U.S. I was
you're in the
actually
US?
And I was backstage. I was backstage the day you announced it, and I was so upset I couldn't leave backstage, and I was getting coffee, and Eric Schmidt was standing right next to me, and I was just kind of glum, and he said, you know, the reason you should be excited because of this is Tim Armstrong. Everyone I talk to, well, I don't know, AOL, I don't know, the story's not great, AOL's not great, but Tim Armstrong, at least in the Valley, so much of the hope of can this work out, so much of the reason that Mike sold, reason Ariana sold, is you, not necessarily the story, not necessarily the assets. How much pressure do you feel, and do you worry that you're being overhyped into this mythical CEO?
No, I think, first of all, I think the natural attraction at AOL is because we believe, I mean, big time in the future of the internet, and I think everyone we've come in, Ariana, Mike, Tony Conrad, all the entrepreneurs who have come in, you know, I don't think it has anything to do with me. I think it has to do with the future of where the internet's going and the fact that we've laid a really big vision, you know, for that. And I think also people love to work on teams. And, you know, Mike is a unique individual. Ariana's an individual. Tony Conrad is. The folks from Go Viral. Dave Mason from Studio Now. Ron Haran from 5 Min. So everyone who's there basically all wants to coalesce around a big vision. And I think that's that's why people are excited. And are you as upset as you were last year?
No,
Or
I've
you feel
actually
better?
been pleasantly surprised. And you know
good.
what? Buying Huffington Post made me feel a lot better.
Oh, good. All right.
Because I think for whatever the New York Times wants to say, I think Ariana really understands real journalism.
Right, yeah,
and
she
to
does.
feel like there's another layer above us that's
Right.
protective of that.
There's a reason everyone's writing articles about Ariana is because she does understand it, and I think that's the thing that's most threatening
Right.
about it is people want a painter to not understand those things, and I think she does understand
Well,
them.
the New York Times has personally trashed both me and Mike several times, so we're just all this happy family of the New York Times trashing us.
That's good.
Speaking of content businesses, now obviously you've acquired in several very powerful content businesses
Right.
that don't need the AOL homepage. Have a situation that a lot of AOL doesn't. Now you're trying to really sort of build that from within.
Yep.
Do you think it can be built from within a company like AOL, or do you think there's something special about TechCrunch, Huffington Post, Engadget, these brands that are scrappy startups, and then build something that someone can buy?
Yeah, I think it comes down to one simple thing, and it comes down to people. I think if you have internal people that are as passionate as external entrepreneurs, you're going to have success internally. If you don't, you won't. And I think the lesson, I think for a lot of people inside of AOL and also people coming into AOL is the internet is very competitive, and if you're not the most passionate person about what you're doing, you're going to lose. And I think for the AOLers, seeing the entrepreneurs come in, they see the level of passion, and for some of the internal groups that have done a great job, you look at the level of passion that has required the different areas of AOL to turn around advertising, or Project Devil is something we launched internally, and that's been very successful for us. But that took a committed, maniacal group of people to do that. You can't just do things the normal way and expect to have great outcomes. And my guess is at TechCrunch, pre-acquisition, hopefully post-acquisition, you guys work nutty hours, you do crazy things.
Right.
But there's a reason there's 2,100 people here today, which is 400 more than last year, is because you guys are more passionate than anybody else, about this. And look, the fact that nobody had really built a TechCrunch in New York, you guys came from Silicon Valley here. This is the biggest event tech-wise in New York.
And we're going to do it in China. You're
Right.
coming,
I'm
right?
going to go to China. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at flights to go over, and there's also another meeting that I want to go over, but they're the same week, so I told Mike I was going to try to make it to China.
Okay, so last question. When are we going to stop asking you, is this turnaround going to happen? And when are we going to start seeing, yes, it's definitely happening?
I think there was a little version of it in the last earnings where we kind of showed display advertising growing for the first time in 4 years. And we live in the show me state, so you won't have to ask me. You'll see it in the numbers, and we're really.
When will we see it?
We said publicly the company would be turned around by 2013, but I'm not sleeping every night because I want it to be earlier than that.
It's my kid's 2-year-old birthday. AOL will be turning around.
That's right. When's the birthday going to be?
It's September 2nd. Next Disrupt. I've told Mike we're not live streaming it. So
oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do partial stream, right, or something. We'll do
right before.
delayed stream.
Here's the real question: if the after party we get an ice luge, will you do a shot from the ice luge?
I'll do a shot for you at the ice luge.
All right.
If you have one at the after party.
Let's get an ice luge at the after party, New York. Tim, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Great to see you.